Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's time for a little constitutional lesson this afternoon. I just heard on the news that the president and leaders of the leaders of the House and the Senate just had a meeting in the White House where the president walked out of the meeting. Chuck Schumer walks out onto Pebble Beach, which is on the north portico of the White House, and announces proudly to the news crews that the president just stormed out of the meeting. And he then went on to say that he wants the president to reopen the government. I don't know why everybody keeps asking the president to reopen the government. Now, let's be clear about something. If the president has said that he's only going to accept X in terms of a spending bill, I don't even know what the number is anymore, but it doesn't really make any difference what the number is. Whether he wants $5 billion, he wants $1.3 billion, he wants $100 billion, the number really doesn't make any difference. The president can say what he wants. But the Constitution always provides a remedy that if we reach an impasse like this, there's a way out of it. If the elected officials are willing to do that. And in this case, it's the members of the House and the Senate. Now, we have divided government. So we have in Article 1, where we have the House of Representatives and the Senate, we have the Democrats in charge of the House and Republicans in charge of the Senate. So what do? Well, the leaders of the two parties in both houses sit down and try to figure out if there's a number that all of them can agree upon. What do they need? They need 2/3 vote in both the House and the Senate to pass a piece of legislation that is veto proof. So regardless of what it is that President Trump wants, they could pass a spending bill and reopen the government if they wanted to. I don't think they want to. Now, there's a lot of brinksmanship going on. Republicans in the Senate are trying to back the president. Democrats in the House are trying to push all of this onto the president. But the bottom line is this. If the shutdown is really as bad as everybody says that it is, and if Republicans are determined that at some point they're going to reopen the government, irrespective of what the president wants, the Constitution provides a mechanism by which to do that. And that just means that Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and I don't even know who the House Minority Leader is. I think it's Kevin McCarthy, but I'd have to double check that. All they have to do is sit down and among themselves, this is the legislative branch, among themselves decide how much they want to offer the president and then whip the votes. By that I mean do the head count. See if you can get 2/3 of the members of the House to vote for the bill you're proposing. Mitch McConnell would do the same thing in the Senate. See if he has 2/3 of the senators, which means a combination of both Democrats and Republicans, just like you would need on the House side. And when they find that sweet spot where 2/3 of both houses can agree on a number on spending levels, then they can vote on that bill. They can send it to the White House. And even if the president vetoes it, that sends it back to both houses of Congress where they would vote again. And assuming the 2/3 vote sticks, they can override the president's veto and they can reopen the government. So when you hear the news people and the pundits and you hear the politicians say that we demand that President Trump reopen the government, no, if they really wanted to do it, they could do it themselves. There's always a solution. The framers, when they drafted this document, they understood that there would be times like this. And the purpose of having this kind of a relief valve of overriding a veto, that presupposes that people are willing to sit down and negotiate. If they're not willing to sit down and negotiate, then the government's going to stay shut. But if they truly wanted to reopen it, if they really wanted to do that, there's a mechanism by which they could do it. I just don't think that either party's willing to do it. It's all about politics. It's not about border security. It's not about funding levels. It's not about illegal aliens. It's not about racism. It's not about anything other than pure politics and pure power. This is Democrats playing a power game. This is Republicans playing a power game. And if they really wanted to open the government, it's right here in the U.S. Constitution. Talk to you tonight.